Warren Gamaliel Harding, the 29th President of the United States, served from March 4, 1921, until his death on August 2, 1923. He is often remembered for his controversial presidency, which was marred by scandals, but also for his efforts to bring a sense of stability and normalcy to a nation recovering from World War I. Harding was born on November 2, 1865, in Blooming Grove, Ohio, to a family of modest means. His father, George T. Harding, was a farmer and doctor, and his mother, Phoebe, was a teacher. Warren grew up in the small town of Marion, Ohio, where he would later build his career. He attended Ohio Central College, where he was an average student but excelled in extracurricular activities, particularly in sports and public speaking. After graduation, Harding worked as a newspaper editor for the Marion Daily Star, a publication that his father had bought in 1884. Harding's leadership and the paper's success would help him rise in local politics. He was a conservative and a strong advocate for economic growth, and through his editorial influence, he became an influential voice in Ohio. Harding's political career began in 1899 when he was elected to the Ohio State Senate. He served in the state Senate until 1903, and during this period, he developed a reputation as a skilled politician and a popular public figure. In 1914, he was elected to the U.S. Senate, where he served until his presidential election. Harding's time in the Senate was marked by moderate positions on many issues, though he was mainly known for his pro-business stance and his support for high tariffs to protect American industry. Harding's personal life was also filled with drama. He married Florence Kling DeWolf in 1891, a woman with a strong personality who was well known for her social prominence. The couple did not have children, and their marriage was often described as one of mutual respect, though it was later revealed that Harding had numerous extramarital affairs, including one that resulted in a child. Harding's rise to the presidency was largely due to his moderate political stance and his appeal to the growing disillusionment in the post-war United States. In the election of 1920, following the end of World War I and the devastating effects of the Spanish flu pandemic, the country was looking for a sense of normalcy. Harding, who had a warm and charismatic personality, was chosen as the Republican candidate for president, largely because of his reputation as a man who could unify the party. During the campaign, Harding emphasized a return to normalcy, a phrase that resonated deeply with Americans who were exhausted by war and the turbulent post-war period. Harding's message was one of limited government intervention, economic prosperity, and a more isolationist foreign policy. His simple, optimistic campaign slogans contrasted with the more complicated policies of his Democratic opponent, James M. Cox. Harding won the 1920 election by a landslide, carrying 60.3% of the popular vote and 404 of 531 electoral votes. His victory was the largest margin of victory in a presidential race up until that point. Harding took office in 1921, assuming the presidency at a time of economic uncertainty and political division. He immediately sought to restore confidence in the American government and economy. He pushed through pro-business policies, including tax cuts, which were intended to stimulate economic growth and reduce the burden on American businesses. Harding also advocated for the reduction of government spending and the return to a sound monetary policy. One of his key accomplishments was the establishment of the Washington Naval Conference in 1921 to 1922. This conference, attended by representatives from the major naval powers of the world, resulted in agreements to limit naval armaments and reduce the risk of a new arms race. The conference was seen as a diplomatic success and helped improve international relations, especially between the United States, Great Britain, and Japan. Domestically, Harding's administration also saw significant efforts in improving the country's infrastructure. His government made investments in road construction and national highways, contributing to the growth of the automobile industry. However, Harding's presidency was marred by a series of scandals that would tarnish his legacy. Several members of his cabinet were involved in corruption, most notably the Teapot Dome scandal. This scandal revolved around the leasing of federal oil reserves to private companies in exchange for bribes, leading to a major investigation after Harding's death. Albert Fall, the Secretary of the Interior, was convicted and became the first cabinet member to go to prison. Other figures, like Attorney General Harry Daugherty, were also implicated in various corrupt activities, further damaging Harding's reputation. Harding's presidency came to an abrupt end when he died unexpectedly of a heart attack on August 2, 1923, while on a speaking tour in California. His sudden death left many questions unanswered regarding the extent of the scandals in his administration. Following his death, Harding's reputation began to suffer as details of the corruption scandals came to light. Historians and political observers often rank him among the least effective presidents in American history due to his inability or unwillingness to control the corruption that marred his administration. Despite this, Harding is still recognized for his attempts to return the nation to stability and for his role in setting the stage for the economic prosperity of the 1920s. He also played a role in setting the course for future foreign policy by advocating for international disarmament and helping to chart the nation's course away from the lingering isolationism that had marked the pre-war years. In recent years, Harding's legacy has undergone some re-evaluation. While the scandals of his presidency cannot be ignored, his efforts to stabilize the country after World War I, promote business growth, and push for international peace have been recognized more favorably by some historians. Warren G. Harding's presidency remains a complex chapter in American history. His tenure, while initially promising, was overshadowed by corruption and scandal. Yet his efforts to bring economic prosperity and his vision for international peace are part of his broader, though imperfect, legacy. Harding's life and leadership remind us that while his ideals of normalcy and stability resonated with a weary nation, the realities of political leadership were often more complicated than they appeared.